It's time to work on the twin popsicle of our 2 scoops bench pillow. The twin popsicle is on page 20. I have the fabrics backed with fusible interfacing and I have the batting. I did use my ScanNCut to cut the popsicle applique. However, this is an optional step. I do have a video where I show how to cut the appliques with my ScanNCut. Let's start the twin popsicle. Before I get started on the popsicle, I want to show this little cutting mat, pressing mat that I have that's just right in front of my machine. And I don't keep it here all the time, but when I'm doing a lot of pressing for like the piece blocks or the blocks that I will be using, the applique pieces, I'm going to glue base them and will press them. And so this is called a quilter's cut and press. They have a couple of sizes. I have the 12 by 18. It does have a handle, but on one side is a cutting mat and I use it for the pressing. On the other side it's like an ironing board. It's a pressing mat, and so I just have that sitting in front so I can just take my hoop off. I have my little iron that I love and it just fits right in the hoop, no problems, even a smaller hoop, and then I don't have to go back and forth to either my wool mat or to my ironing board. All right, so let's get going. On this block, I'm going to go to embroidery and to my USB. And I am not using software for this block, so I'm just going to bring in both of the background and then the embroidery file. And so the first thing I need to do is open the quilting bundle folder, and this uses Food 4 block by block, and I need the 4x4 size, and then I will hit set. Then I'm going to add, go back to my USB and to my embroidery file and find the cute little twin popsicle. I will select and hit set, and now hit embroidery. And I am using my 7x12 hoop, and I do have the 8x12 in my machine. Again, I don't have a 7x12 in my machine. And once I've hit embroidery, I'm going to go to layout and move, and I'm going to move this all the way down. I am on the very last piece of muslin, and so it just fits this hoop, and I am going to get another design after the popsicle, and so that's why I'm going to move it down. So let's get started by running the placement for the batting. After I placed the batting and the fabric, I need to skip a few steps since I didn't work in software. And so the second I am going to skip by using my down arrow, which is the tack down of the batting. And then I'm also going to skip the next, which is the placement for the fabric. And I will run the tack down of the fabric. For this piece that I cut with my ScanNCut, I'm going to use just a little bit of glue based it. You could also use some washable Elmer's glue. And although you don't have to do this, I'm going to add just a little bit kind of around, not too close to the edge. I don't want it to seep out. And then I am going to lay this down. You could use a glue stick or something like that. And I'm going to get this right on top of that basting stitch. I enlarged this just a little bit. It fits great. And now I'm going to take my iron and just press this so that it dries that glue. And the next step is to tack down And I'm going to skip that because I already have it cut to size. So this would be, of course, if we had just our square piece of fabric and we needed to tack it down and trim it. But because I've used the ScanNCut, I'm going to use my down arrow to skip. And so now I'm ready to do all the outlining and satin detail. You can see how fast it was since I used that ScanNCut piece that was already cut out. And so that was a fun, fast, easy block. Now the video from here will just show me cutting this block to size and finishing this up. However, I do want to note that I mentioned earlier that I am on the very end of my strip of muslin that fit my 7x12 hoop. Again, most of the time, you see a lot of muslin off to the top of my hoop, but this is my very last piece. And so I can't cut this out without just wasting this or having to use this for maybe my 4x4 hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and start the next block. If you want to see how I do that, go ahead and watch the next video, which is the ice cream block. All right, so for this video, let's go get this popsicle cut to size. This background quilting does not go into the seam allowance. And so I was able to take the basting out and cut the muslin right next to the batting. So now we can trim this to size. I'm going to go press it first and then we can finish this block.